You got, go ahead and use that Mela. It's good. It's good.
Hey, Miss Linda. I come by this Wednesday, come to church the other morning.
All right, we're about ready to get started. My. I tell you what, looks like a full crowd compared to what we had this weekend. But we did have church this Sunday, and was fortunate enough to have 20 here Sunday morning and 11 Sunday night. Had a big crowd.
12 was charged. 12 was charged.
Well, that's counting. That's counting that. We had, I thought we had 10, and then Darlene said that Charlie made number 11. But anyway, we had service, and you know, I was happy to be able to come in and have that time. But anyway, it's kind of a deal where I come up here a little early on Sunday morning and saw that 16 was dry. It was. And 74 was, and that's all I cared about, 74 and 16. I didn't have any side roads to have to come down, you know. But anyway, I knew how it is, though. So anyway, we had a good Sunday service here and Sunday night, had a good time. Looking forward to you know, this coming weekend. I'm hoping that, you know, we'll have our people back. Sister Wilma called just a little bit before we left and said her sister in Tennessee needs our prayers tonight pretty bad. Said she's just 18 months younger than Wilma, and said that she's having diabetic problems. Her blood sugar's dropped way down, and anyway, it's causing her to, they want her to go to the hospital, and she wouldn't go. And so usually whenever your blood sugar is down like that, it's the best thing if you do go in and get that checked out and try to get them, you know, let them regulate that the best they can. So anyway, she wanted us to remember her in prayer, and talked to Bobby Smith yesterday, and he's saying he's been out of commission for a few weeks with this flu and stuff. Was feeling a whole lot better. Said he planned on seeing us Sunday, and so I like it whenever I hear this. I'll see you Sunday. Amen.
Jerry's going to get to go home tomorrow.
And yes, Jerry Ball is going to get to go home tomorrow. He's been there in the hospital for, I guess, a couple of weeks now. And anyway, Bertha Faye said they're not really sure as to whether this is cancer or not. So we're praying that it's not. Amen.
Amen.
So let's just keep him lifted up in prayer.
Did he get his trach out? Did he get his trach out?
She didn't say.
Yeah,
She didn't
told me he
say
was
on
supposed
that.
to get it out yesterday.
But tomorrow he's coming home, she said. Okay. All right. And Chuck, he got a little surgery going on there last week. It was over his left eye over here. Some of them claiming that made Polly mad. You know. And this week she's bit part of his ear off. Just kidding. Just kidding. But anyway, he told us that he was going to have that done this week, and I know that everything's going to work out and be okay there. Okay? And so anyway, we're going to get into our service tonight. Pray for him as he comes and as he teaches this lesson that all of us just understand. Revelation's hard to understand, it seems like to me. I mean, some people it's easy, but then there's some it's just kind of tough to understand it all. And I've always been one of those that you get into certain portions of it, it's tough for me to understand it. You say, well, I thought you knew that. Well, I thought it did too. Amen. But it's not just Revelation. There's a lot of the Bible that's that way. Amen. All right. Yes.
I just, of course, haven't been here, so I don't know what he said and what he hasn't said, but we just have a lot going on, and I just appreciate you guys keeping us in your prayers and continuing to do so. I mean, our biggest praise is Lila got her surgery this last week to repair her cleft palate and several other things that were wrong, and so she's on the mend, and we're really thankful for that. It's been a long week. But Maggie's still having health issues, and once we get Lila settled, then we're going to have to start exploring some more things. In the middle of this, she passed out, hit her head. We ended up in the ER, so we still don't have answers for why she's passing out. Yeah. And Tony said he didn't think he mentioned anything, and I'm going to go ahead and do so. But I have a biopsy next Monday. So we found out about that in the middle of everything, and I've been so busy taking care of the baby, we kind of had to postpone it because they scheduled the baby's schedule the same week as my biopsy, but we've got it rescheduled for next week. So I'm just praying that all comes back clear.
Yes.
And I just sent an email today asking that somehow they work it out so that I can, still do my job, but have Sunday mornings off. And so I just keep petitioning for that, hoping for that door to open, because it's not fun being so out of touch and not, I do tons of ministry every week, and I've been under attack at work, and if the Lord shuts that door there, that's fine, He'll open a better one. But it's just not fun, especially when you're under attack at work, and I know it's because I stand for the Lord, and I'm doing His work, and so I'm just facing opposition because of that, and so that's okay. But it'd sure be nice to be able to go to church again, and that's why we chose to come here for Valentine's, because we just figured there was no better place to be than just in church together, and so Amen. I'm just real thankful to be here tonight.
Amen. Amen. Remember, Melissa, when you pray. Yes, Sheila.
So let's remember Alicia Couch.
Alicia Couch.
She's in the hospital. Flu, and they think it's diverticulitis, but they're not sure.
Okay.
So she's in the hospital.
Did you know that?
And I didn't know it either. Carolyn went to Carson's Valentine party today, and she was telling Heather that because she didn't want Ash or Kimmy to go because she's afraid that they'd take the flu back to the baby. And so, but they admitted her with, she tested negative for one strain, but they weren't sure because there's so many strains.
Yeah.
And then she was having some abdominal pain.
Yeah.
So they admitted her.
Amen. Remember and pray for her. Someone else. Okay. Yes.
Glenda asked us to remember her.
Remember Glenda. Yes. Yes. Amen. All right. Well, let's bow our heads and we'll ask the Lord just to bless in these people's instances, and thank God tonight for each of you that are here. Our Father, we are thankful tonight to be here, and Lord, it's a blessing whenever we can come together. And Lord, I know that each time we do come together, we've most usually got prayer requests for our loved ones and friends and those that we know that are experiencing some kind of sicknesses. We're praying, Father, for each of these tonight, that you just bless those that are going through these times of flu and other illnesses that they're experiencing. And I pray, Father, that you just bring healing to their bodies. Father, I pray for Melissa. She's asked tonight for us to remember her in her job, and would like to be able to come to church on Sunday morning, and I know exactly what she's talking about there. I've been in the same boat before. I just ask you, God, that you just bless in that situation. And Father, we're thankful for all that you do for us. Thankful, Lord, that whenever we come here, on Sundays and Wednesdays. We can always plan on you being here with us, and Lord, to feel your spirit and to enjoy one another's fellowship and to love one another. I'm just thankful for that, and I pray, God, that you would continue to bless us in that way. Lord, we're just asking you tonight also to be with that all of those students in that school down in Florida that was attacked, and 17 of them died during a shooting that we heard on the news just before we left. And I pray, God, that you just be with the families of those that were lost and those that were wounded. And Father, I pray, God, that you just help us in this country, that this may come to a standstill. Lord, that there won't be any more shootings in these schools, and a place where people should feel safe is not safe. And I know that the devil's on the warpath. He's trying to come in and destroy as much as he can, and to take our faith away. Well, Lord, he's not going to take our faith away. Our faith is rooted and grounded in Jesus Christ tonight. And I'm thankful for these that are here that share like faith. I just ask you now just to bless us in the study tonight. I pray for Brother Chuck as he comes and teaches, and help us, Father, that we will learn from it tonight, I pray. God, just bless our church. Pray, Father, that we'd see a house full this Sunday. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. All right, we're going to sing some songs here, and just ask the Lord just to give us a good time tonight.
Music or not?
Yeah, I'd love to have some. Alma she's having to deal with her dad and taking care of him, and so there's going to be some times we're not going to see Alma with us, but you know, she's doing what she has to do. Amen. And that's important.
I should have told you too before we had prayer. She said he'd had 2 bad nights. And they called the nurse Monday and they called the nurse today.
Okay.
She thinks he may have a pinched nerve, she said.
She or he?
He.
Yeah, Uncle Oscar. A pinched nerve. Okay. Remember him. All right. I just passed by the song there. What can he do? A flat.
What page?
Oh, 247. All right, here we go. All right. What can he do with a life that's steeped in sin? What can he do with no hope of life within? Lift up the fallen man out of the sinking sand through Calvary's saving plan. That's what he can do. What can he do for you? Though helpless, sad, and blue, he'll do what other powers can never do. Hear every time you pray, drive all the clouds away, turn darkest night to day. That's what he can do. What can he do for a heavy laden soul, so sad and blue, filled with sorrows yet untold? Give to your heart a song with every burden gone. Your troubles will have flown. That's what he can do. What can he do for you? Though helpless, sad, and blue, he'll do what other powers can never do. Hear every every time you pray. Drive all the clouds away. Turn darkest night to day. That's what He can do. What can He do when the chilling hand of death lays hold on you and you draw your final breath? His power will still abide, guide safely over the tide to Canaan's happy side. That's what He can do. What can He do for you? Though helpless, sad, and blue, He'll do what other powers can never do. Hear every way, turn darkest night to day. That's what He can do. Amen.
Jasper, could we sing 249? It's a day we share love, and we like love every day. So.
Amen. Fill my way with love. A flat, 249.
Take it down a little.
Me walk, blessed Lord. Let me walk, blessed Lord, in the way Thou'st gone. Help me out. The bud, cheer everywhere to the sad and the lone. Fill my way every day with love. Fill my way every day with love. As I walk with the heavenly dove, let me go all the while with a song and a smile. Fill my way every day with love. Keep me close to the side of my Savior and guide. Let me never in darkness roll. Keep my path free from wrath and my soul satisfied. Fill my way every day with love. Fill my way every day with love. As I walk with the heavenly dove, let me go all the while with a song and a smile. Fill my way every day with love. Soon the race will be o'er, and I'll travel no more, but abide in my home above. Let me sing, blessed King, all the way to the shore. Fill my way every day with love. Fill my way every day with love. As I walk with the heavenly dove, let me go all the while with a song and a smile. Fill my way every day with love. Well, praise God, I just couldn't get started with that.
You did.
Hey, I tell you what, just sometimes it just don't come easy, you know. Okay, anybody else have a selection?
Number 11.
Number 11, all right. We'll let that be our last congregation. You got a song tonight, Brother Ray? All right. A Crown of Thorns, F.
You don't know that?
I know, boy, that don't sound right. There was no crown for him of silver or of gold. There was no diadem for him to hold. But blood adorned his brow, and proud in sin stain he bore, and sinners gave to him the crown he wore. A rugged cross became his throne. His kingdom was in hearts alone. He wrote his love in crimson red, and wore the thorns upon his head. He did not reign upon the throne of ivory, but died upon the cross of Calvary. For sinners there he counted all he owned, but loss and peace surveyed his kingdom from a cross. A rugged cross became his throne. His kingdom was in hearts alone. He wrote his love in crimson red, and wore the thorns upon his head. No purple robe he wore his bleeding wounds to hide, but stripes upon his back he wore with pride. And from the wounds there flowed a crimson cleansing stream that was a cover for the soul unclean. A rugged cross became his throne. His kingdom was in hearts alone. He wrote his love in crimson red, and wore the thorns upon his head. Amen. All right, Brother Ray, it's all.
No, I sure wanted to be here Sunday. But starting Saturday evening, I thought the flu was bad. And found out I had that 36-hour virus. I thought dying would be better than living for a while. But here I am again. Thank you, Lord.
Praise the Lord.
Shackled by a heavy burden, neath the load of guilt and shame. Then the hand of Jesus touched me, no longer the same. He touched me, oh, he touched me, and all the joy that floods my soul. Something happened, and now I know he touched me and made me whole. Since I met this blessed Savior, since he cleansed and made me whole, I will never cease to praise Him. I'll shout it while eternity rolls. He touched me, oh, He touched me, and all the joy that floods my soul. Something happened, and now I know He touched me and made me whole. Something happened, and now I know He touched me and made me whole.
We're going to be in Daniel, or not Daniel, we're going to be in Revelation, chapter 13. We're going to be in Daniel part of the time. So remember last week, we got through, stormed right through the first verse of chapter 13. So tonight we're going to be in verse 2. And hopefully I got all my notes here. Yep. I think I left it on the copier, but I've got extra, so that worked out okay. But in Daniel chapter 13, you remember last week we were talking about, had an introduction to the Antichrist. And just in that first verse, we talked about how that we went back into Daniel chapter 7, chapter 8, chapter 9, a little bit in chapter 11 also. But we talked on how there was a family resemblance, you know, because if you go back a couple of chapters, it just verses, it identifies Satan as the same way, with having 10 heads and 10 crowns and all that, you know. And so you see Satan and Antichrist identified in the same manner. In Daniel, when we went back there, he began to talk about these different beasts that he saw come out of the sea. And I wrote down Daniel chapter 7, verses 3 through 7. And he began to describe these beasts, and each one at that time, if you remember, he started with the one that was a lion and had the wings as an eagle. Then he talked about this one, and he says they came up out of the sea. And the next one was the bear, and it had 3 ribs in its mouth. You know? And then talked about the third one was the leopard. And each one of those he identified, told us who they were, said, you know, the first one was Nebuchadnezzar and Babylon. And then the bear said it was kind of leaned over to the right side, which was Medo-Persia. The arms of that statue represented that, but the bear also was representative of that. And then the third one he talked about being Alexander the Great in the Greek Empire. And then he talked about this fourth beast, and he said it was unlike the others, and he said it was fierce, and it was a devastating beast. It was like what John describes earlier in the chapter as a therion, a ravaging, savage beast. Not like the bear, the lion, you know, those are savage beasts, but this one was just out of his head savage. This one is a fierce beast, this fourth one. So tonight when we read in, let's start in verse 1, we'll go down through verse 7. It said, "And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And upon the his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were like the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat, or throne, and great authority. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. And they worshipped the dragon, and which gave power unto the beast, and they worshipped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies. Power was given unto him to continue 42 months. And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle, and them that dwell in heaven. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints, and to overcome them. And power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. We probably won't get down into verse 8, but I want to go ahead and read that because, talking here in verse 2, we talked last week, we described a little bit about this beast. But in verse 2, he says, when he saw him, he was like a leopard, and it gave him his power. If you look at that, and we talked about this just a little bit last week, it's in reverse, the other side of it, history, where John is looking back up through history. So when you see it from Daniel's perspective, he says it was a lion, a bear, and a leopard. When John describes it, he says it was a leopard, a bear, and a lion. Kind of reverse order. But he's describing this kingdom that the beast is going to be over. So you notice that all three of these are continued in this one beast. So all three of these kingdoms, these former kingdoms that were kingdoms that ruled the world and ruled over Israel at one time or another, are going to be a part of this end times, this tribulation beast. When he comes up, he's going to be, his kingdom is going to be a composite. Now the beast is going to be the head or the king over this whole thing. It says there's 10 kings, 10 crowns, but he's actually going to be the one that's going to take preeminence and take over. And he's going to actually, take over for this whole world kingdom. And unlike the others kingdoms, had vast kingdoms and it ruled over most of the earth. But when Antichrist takes over, he's going to be all over the 10 regions that are set up by what the UN and the Trilateral Commission and the Illuminati and these others, they all already have, all of them have the same idea for the world of these 10 economic zones. And in each one of these economic zones is a kingdom. And they've already got it divided up, so when it becomes like one world government, they're going to have it all divided up and they're going to parcel it out. In their minds, that's the way they've got it figured out. And that's pretty much what Satan's going to do. When he comes, he's going to come empower this one. When you think about it, think about the things that we have read in chapters 6 through 12. And we were talking about in those chapters how that was God's view of what's going to go on through the tribulation. Even before, now when you think about it, there's going to be turmoil and everything. Think about, Jasper mentioned that shooting today, where there was 17 so far that we know of that were killed in this school. And it's just a small thing compared to what's going to happen in the future. Because if you go to 2 Thessalonians, it says, that the one that's restraining these evil things and these evil thoughts and these evil deeds and the evil hearts of men is not going to be here to restrain them any longer. And Satan's going to have free reign to do what he wants to. They're going to worship him. They're going to be demon worship. They're going to be Satan worship like never before. On the way before the rapture happens, it's already going to be chaos and troublesome times. Jesus said it was going to be. But what he says in the tribulations, it's time like never been before. It's worse than any time preceding in history, this 7 years. When the rapture comes, we're taken up, guess what? The Holy Spirit goes with us. And so that restraining power, the evil what's on somebody's mind, just like for this 17-year-old boy that went in there, 19, shot all these kids and everything, they won't think anything about it. And it'll just be chaos. And people will, you know, everything that seems that should be up one way will be upside down. Antichrist will come on the scene and he'll give what they're looking for. They're looking for somebody to bring peace and order and bring a semblance of authority and everything. And they'll look at him and he'll be magnificent, he'll be a genius, he'll be magnificent to look at, magnificent to listen to, he'll have a charismatic way about him, he'll be a charmer, he'll be one that'll be able to make alliances and make forge pacts with countries and people that have been enemies in the past, you know. As you think about it, if this temple's going to be built in Jerusalem, something's got to be done. You know, we've seen, I remember ever since Israel's become a nation, almost every president made it their business to try to bring peace to the Middle East. And nobody's ever succeeded. Nobody's even came close, because those are just, there's a natural enemy and a animosity among the Arab people against the Jews, and actually against all the people of the world against the Jews. But this Antichrist is going to be able to come in. He's going to make a covenant with them. Daniel tells us that he's going to make a covenant for 7 years, and in the middle of that, he's going to break it. But he's going to allow them to go back, you know, come by the millions out of these other countries, come back into Israel, build the temple, go back into the type of worship. They're going to have their daily oblation. They're going to have the sacrifices. They're going to have the priests. They're going to have all that reinstated, and Israel will be at peace for that 3.5 years. And he's going to be able to accomplish this. He's going to give the world a sense of peace. It's going to be a false peace, because he's a cruel and fierce person, and one, you know, that will crush, you know, we talk about these dictators that's come before him. There'll be nothing like that. I mean, he'll kill not just like they said Stalin killed, what was it, 23 million of his own people. It won't be a blink of his eye to kill that many and more. He won't care, because he's out to do and to set up his purpose. So when it says, you know, that he said this beast which I saw looked like all these, and he says the dragon gave him power. Remember what happened to the dragon? We found out the first part of this chapter 12, Satan and his angels come take, Michael and his angels come take Satan, clean out the second heaven, the third heaven, throw them all down into earth with Satan. So Satan and all the demons, there's going to be more demons on earth than there ever has been at any time. Running wild, and it's going to be a terrible, terrible time. And, you know, you can't even imagine. And Satan is going to give him power, and it says his seat, which actually is his throne. Satan's going to allow him to have a throne, and says, and great authority. Well, why would these people follow him? Because a lot of them are going to be demon-possessed, and they're going to be demon worshipers, Satan worshipers, and they're going to follow this man who they believe when they worship him. If you go into 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 20, Paul says, you know, all these people, when they go and they sacrifice to these idols, they don't realize that behind every one of these idols there's a demon. And that demon is actually what makes that thing seem like a god to them. Well, that's the way it's going to be with this guy, except for Satan is going to be actually completely God. It says he's going to give him his authority, and he's going to get great power. Matter of fact, as we study more about him and more about we're going to see just how much power and authority they have. It's amazing the things that they're going to do. It even says of this one that he's going to be able to call down fire from heaven. Remember when Elijah challenged them at Mount Carmel, what did he say? You know, let's just see, see whose God is God. I'll let you go first. And what was he able to do that they weren't able